because, whoa, that was weird. I don't know. I don't. I just let me. My chat will work, and then hopefully, you guys will be able to join here shortly. Bandit, what are you doing? Looney? You're acting like Crystal. Embarrassing. Sorry, I couldn't send out notifications. So, like I usually do, I might be able to when I get back. But Bandit, you're redonkulous. Redonkulous. So that's probably 2 gallons, right, Fred? Huh? Okay. Just so I know when I think 5 would fit in there. So taking a walk to the gas station real quick. Gonna get a pop and have to get some gas too. Hey, Lori, Lumi, Shannon, my hubs. I don't know who he's yelling at. I mean, there was a kid skating. Oh, yeah, Fred got them all wound up. He saw the kittens next door in the window. Hey, November Rain. I haven't watched the Chris McDonough live yet, so I figured we could just watch it together. And it'd be a good discussion anyways to review Summerwell's info and refresh our memory and just see. Fred watched it. I don't know if yeah. So I figured we'd go over that when we get back here, and I'll switch over to the computer and we'll just watch Chris McDonough and talk on it. People, what are they prepared for? 4th of July already?
Red, white, and blue. Normally don't have them on.
No. They have. Well.
They put them up at Christmas.
Yeah, I remember them doing that. Probably for the election. They have to compete with this woman over here on the corner. She has like the nicest lot in the town. Yeah, she runs the polls too. Yeah. Obviously a very intelligent lady. She went to IU. Well, or she supports IU. I don't know if she went to IU. Yeah, it takes a while. Like people don't really get. Are you gonna come over here with me so that we can fill the gas? You don't want to? Or you could just walk and just meet me back there, I guess. I just don't want somebody to steal the pump. But, I mean, I could, it's not like they're really busy or anything, I guess, but my luck, somebody probably pull up right to the pump that I just added money on. Where? That's not a cop. Doesn't matter. They want to freaking. I mean, we're allowed to walk here. I mean, it says up there, don't walk. But man, they'd have to be pretty forward to freaking give us a ticket for that. Where should I set it at? Okay, let's pull up to our pump, guys. All right. Pump 3. Okie dokie. Doesn't make sense. Like, ever since I've come off this Wellbutrin, which actually makes, like, at the beginning made me jittery, and I actually quit it because it made me jittery. I hate that feeling. But now it's weird, like, coming off of it, it's like I get that feeling much more easily from caffeine now. Which, obviously, like, I don't know. It's just, I guess my body is just kind of getting used to the big change, I suppose. Okay, so we got this drink. I need 5 on. I better hurry and get that so that car doesn't pull up there. And 3. Oh. I came back, like I said, for that $3.99, and then also I need to do 5 on pump 3. Yep. Oh, let me make sure I have that in my. Make sure I have that because actually I think I do. I think I have 11 on that card, so it should be fine. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. You're such a precious little baby. You're such a precious little baby. If it can't all fit, oh well, just leave it. Somebody can have free quarter of gas. Hey, Heather. So we had to jump the van, or we're trying to jump the van, but the gas is I think is too low. So, okay. Come on. Okay. Yeah. There. No, that won't happen. Okay. Here we go. See, I almost got. Hey, country girl. I saw your. I just saw your text. I got you. Okay. It's pretty cold. It's like 35 or something, but it's weird because on the way back it feels much colder, and it's like that every time. I guess it has. Yeah, it's the way the house is laid or something because. Yeah. So once we get back, I'm gonna go over to the computer. I was saying, and we'll watch Chris McDonough. I haven't seen it. I know you guys probably already have, so it's gonna be new to me. But yeah, I felt like kind of crappy the last few days coming off that. To be honest, I felt today's the best I felt in a while. Freezing rain. It didn't rain today, but yesterday it did, and I walked in it. I think it was yesterday that I walked in the rain. And yeah. Yeah, so you weren't feeling good that day. Plus you had sandals on and stuff. You would have had to go change. So I just went. Dolly's on Ben Hill. That's cool. I'm happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. Hopefully he gets us some, good detail or some. He lives really close to there, so he's lucky that he can drive there in a couple hours or whatever. I don't know exactly how long. I know he lives just the state over, but it could be more than a couple hours. But I know it can't be that too long. So what's he going to do out there? Did he say? Yeah, that's Sullivan County, though. Oh, so he's right. Oh, okay, so he's going. Is he going to go? Can you go to the courthouse to do that? Are they letting people in? Are they letting people in Boswell's case? I'm asking them if they know. I can find out here in a second once I get to a computer. I hope that they let people in for summer wells. Yep. Which we'll probably have to be there anyways. I'm sure they'll have you testify. So, I mean, I would think anyways. You would be great for the defense. Or the prosecution, I mean. Prosecution. It would be... be good for the prosecution to... I guess it depends on who's on... Well, it's either, no matter who is on the defendant's side. Because it's either gonna... It's very... I mean, I already know, like, who it's going to be, and it's not going to be, it's going to be one of just a couple people. They both should be in, there's several that should be in jail, but I just have a bad feeling that they're going to get, like, the parents, and then be like, oh, you know, we got them, guys. You know, like, it's like, no, this goes deeper than that. But that, yeah, that could be exactly why it's taking so long, and they're so hush-hush. Maybe they... A lot of crimes that happened before. Okay. You want me to take Bandit? Okay. Okay, guys. We've arrived at the homestead. Oh, sorry. I didn't put that back. I got that out for that when I was forming that bowl. Oops, that's yours. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay. What's the tip? Oh, he's not coming. Here we go. Interview room. Okay.
A son's horrifying discovery on his father's phone.
Oh yeah, I want to see that too. This guy, son here, found pornographic, like illegal, child porn on his dad's phone, and had to turned him in. It says instead of keeping his father's secret, the son turned his own father in to police. Police say they found nearly 1,000 photos of child porn saved to Fallen's digital folders. Wow. Craziness. Okay. Enter studio. Okay, so I got it switched over here super easily. Now, let's share screen. If the mods don't mind, like sharing, I'll share the link as well, and I'll put it in the description of the interview rooms. How many of you guys have seen this? I hope there's nothing in it that's gonna get me freaking really round up. Baby Evelyn was alive when Megan put her in that trash can upside down. Poor, oh my gosh. Yeah, I did a reading. I drew cards while I was kind of watching that today. Just a few cards, and I feel like it's totally not what she's saying as far as it wasn't. I don't know much about the case, but at all. But what I got in the cards, and I don't know what I see on the story, or where do we read it out of an article or something, or where do we read about that they're trying to say she rolled over on the baby?
I've not really heard that whole lot about Megan Boswell case.
Well, that's not what happened. I don't feel like, and I do believe that the boyfriend I believe the boyfriend from the cards deserted her somewhere, the child somewhere. I believe it was the boyfriend, and there was also other things going on. Similar reasoning behind why they got rid of Evelyn as why Summer had to be gotten rid of is what I felt in the cards. But I don't know. I haven't watched that case. I don't know too much about it. Pulling out my live so I can. Okay. She even wrapped her head in aluminum foil.
That's what I'd heard too.
Thank you, Liplock Luminous. Hey, hair curlers. Who was that girl on the stand today? Was she just a friend that Brittany or whatever her name was? Brittany, I think it started with a B. Bailey, maybe. Bailey.
I know Nathan Bucksham was on the stand. So I don't know.
Then they're saying that Ethan isn't even her dad, and he thought he was this whole time. Wow. Yeah, how's your surgery? How'd your surgery go, Liplock? Those who were not in here yesterday, we lost a mod that's been here with us since the beginning. Lucy Cat passed. I don't know any details. I just know that she's passed, and friends and family are asking for prayers for her family. Lucy Cat was always so amazing in here. She's trying to say her boyfriend rolled over on the baby, but I think she did something to her baby. Why else was she lying so much? I feel like they were hiding. I think hiding something that was possibly happening for money or greed. That's what I felt. It has to do with money, greed. There's I got the Jeffrey Epstein card. You guys decipher what you want will with that. Got the Jeffrey Epstein card. I got that it was somebody who was not of blood who deserted her somewhere. And it was something like they were afraid. I think, was she about to go to school or something? That's what I was feeling. It felt something like that, like similar to Summer Wells. Like she was about to go to school and the school couldn't find out about what was going on. That's the kind of feeling I got, but I don't know. Yeah, she did. That's what Terry T says, and she's always been sweet, and she left a message on my community post to let me know, and thank you so much for letting us know. And let's go ahead.
And she has not been found, nor is there any. We've not forgotten.
She was only 13 months. Okay. I still feel like I didn't get the school. I still feel like it was that's why I don't know, guys. I pray to God not, but pray God not.
Don and Candace, if you're listening, we haven't given up. And we haven't left the house. That's why we're all here tonight. Hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people are looking for your daughter. Are you?
No, don't let them lie to you.
That's the question.
No.
Jock, good evening. How are you, buddy?
Actually, no, they're attacking anybody who, and suddenly I hear, like, for some reason, one of their main targets. Oh, Ziggy. It's like, when do I even really focus on the parents nowadays? Really? We already know you're involved. Let's find the others. So, it's weird, that they wouldn't encourage people to be trying to find answers. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm well. How are you, Chris? Thanks for having me. And hello to the TIR family.
Shared
we have some crossover subs, and I
feel free.
Truly appreciate all the love and support. And to answer your question, no, Dawn says that they're not searching anymore.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
I mean, if we go back in time for just a little bit and look at the terrain within a short period of time after her disappearance, this is actually what it looked like. And then when we start breaking down what's been said, what's been done, how it's been done, who said it. The one thing about children disappearing, is it possible that she could have come down that back area there into the brush and into the creek that's down at the bottom there on the right-hand side, or across the street?
No.
Anything's possible, highly improbable though, in this case. Because this is the area where the guy would have had to park and come up the dog trail in this area. You go down here a little bit further by the sign, and if we were to turn right, we go up the street a little. That's a high-risk area.
Is that where that the white HHR was
it's
parked?
Where they started videoing and stuff, straight across from the shed is where the white HHR was.
So he's talking about the entrance to this dog trail is right over there where they were parked.
Well, the dog trail that
He's saying that you go.
the dog trail that they mentioned.
Wait, where is he? What's he looking at right now?
For a stranger,
Look, or if you want to come
this
over
is
here,
high-risk terrain.
Fred.
What say you, Josh? What's your
Yeah,
thought?
I mean, it's not conducive to stealing, kidnapping, abducting a child and making a clean getaway. I mean, that the place is just about as secluded as you can get.
Okay, but it's
It's
what are we facing
backwoods.
right
It's
now?
up a. I mean, you've driven up that.
I was facing the road.
Facing Beach Creek.
Yes. That's straight in front of Don's house
So Beach Creek or Don's house is on the left, right?
coming
and
down,
then-
down the creek, yeah.
Coming down Ben Hill, Don's house is on the left, and then
No, coming down Beach Creek, it's on the left.
he's at
Well, I
a
mean, didn't you have to use your 4x to get up there? I mean, it's not an easy
In between
trek.
And you'll notice there's no water in the creek.
so this is okay, so this is not then where the HHR was.
Yes, the HHR is right here where they first started recording. Right on this side of where you turn on Simpson Loop right there.
Down that back area there into the brush and into the creek that's down at the bottom there on the right-hand side or across the street. Anything's possible, highly improbable though, in this case. Because this is the area where the guy would have had to park and come up the dog trail in this area. You go down here a little bit further by the sign, and if we were to turn right, we go up the street a little. That's a high-risk area.
Hey, Shannon, I have two. I have to figure out which one's the right one because I had several of you wrenched. So I had to unwrench all of them because I have somebody that was messing with my account and stuff. So I deleted all mods that I didn't like either. There was multiples of you. So I didn't know which was which. I can't do that because then there's going to be, I don't know whose is who and like which is which. And then somebody can come in and say, oh, this is Shannon. And then I mod them. And then there's another Shannon. You know what I mean? So, but email me and we'll get it straightened out for sure. It wasn't just you. There's a bunch were demodded that I hadn't seen but yeah, there was like 2 or 3 of you.
For a stranger. This is high-risk terrain.
Yeah, there was.
What say you, Josh? What's your
Yeah,
thought?
I mean, it's not conducive to stealing, kidnapping, abducting a child and making a clean getaway. I mean, that the place is just about as secluded as you can get. It's backwoods. It's up a. I mean, you've driven up that hill. I mean, didn't you have to use your 4x to get up there? I mean, it's not an easy trek.
And you'll notice there's no water in the creek there. And look at
And
the cars coming.
yeah, and to go down that hill, that's an extremely steep slope,
See,
to go down,
I freaking,
especially carrying a child.
that's just dropping.
Yeah, so there's the house right there at the top of the hill. You can see through the trees. You see the white up there, that's their house. That's where I stood and looked down onto the street. This is the street. So if we go with a stranger abduction theory again, according to mom and dad, then the suspect would have to be familiar with that area or take a risk and park his or her car out there on the road, because see, there's that sign that's showing there's a road up, and
It's where he's talking about. He just said, we'll take a risk and park right there. Is he talking about the area that you saw the white HHR? Where you saw, so Fred,
It's straight across from the shed.
so
too.
straight across from the shed, and I've tried to get a hold of Chris McDonough. I really have. If he hears this, I'd love to get a hold of him, because like he really needs to talk to Fred. Like, I mean, bad. And I know he's busy, and I know there's a lot of drama and stuff, but it's really important. Fred witnessed the white HHR.
Dobbs even spoke
13, 14, yeah, and Dobbs mentioned the white HHR that was sitting right across from what's that road?
Simpson Loop or Lane. I mean Loop. Simpson Loop and Beach Creek.
Simpson Loop and Beach Creek was sitting there, which was right across from the bottom shed property on the 13th. You know for sure the 13th, the 15th, the 14th. You were like pretty much sleeping all day.
Yeah. Dobbs spoke of it on the 14th.
But Dobbs said he saw it on the 14th. So now we're seeing it was there the 13th, 14th, and 15th allegedly. And then Summer goes missing, and then it was never seen again. So yeah. I don't know. Oh, really? That's crazy. Have you reached out to Josh about? Yeah, I have. I've tried. But
he was gone on the 15th when I went out. He was there that morning when I went out and got gas and cigarettes and stuff. But and come back, but when I left out later on the 15th, it wasn't there no more.
Yeah.
But I was in and out several times on the 13th, and it was there every time I went in and out.
Yeah. I've tried to get in touch with him through Josh too, but you never know in this community, like who to trust and who to, so they're probably leery and stuff, or I don't know what's going on. I heard also that Chris has kind of moved away. I mean, he's on top, covering other cases. It's really, really tough to, I don't know how people are able to do it. Like multiple cases really, but I guess if you're just like, I don't know, it's just really hard for me to do anything else. But I've learned my lesson though from Summer Wells. Like I'm just way too deep now into it, obviously, but I will never be in this position again, because I won't be covering children's cases in the future. Yeah, HHR was there the 13th as well. Yeah. Okay, I saw your email, Shannon. That probably happened, Shannon, when we because of that. That's probably when you probably made a new account, and that's probably what happened. It's probably nothing. We'll get it straightened out. Don't worry.
there's Don's house all up there. And then he'd have to sneak up those woods on the other side there. Know for a fact there was going to be a 5-year-old
13,
just returning home from
whatever days
shopping with her mom.
Whatever days it were, yeah. If it was a Sunday, 13th, yeah, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, yes.
Mother, and doing some planting with her grandmother, allegedly.
But I feel like,
for a fact,
like the law enforcement is already aware, like they already know what that is or who was driving that, because when I got a call back from them, it was December 4th, this last December 4th, the email that I sent them that I got a call back on, in that email, I had mentioned the white HHR and how important it was that was sitting there on the 13th, 14th, and 15th. I brought that up again. when we got a call back, we weren't asked about the white HHR at all. The only thing focused on was the blue truck that Fred had seen following Andy out of the hauler, and also had seen in still shots of photos shown by law enforcement early on. So I don't know. It's very strange. Like, I would love to talk to Chris McDonough about it and see.
I mean, from my understanding, white HR was never on camera nowhere.
Yeah, and I just want to understand. Maybe he would understand why. Like,
Unless they got it on one of their surveillance cameras, the law enforcement surveillance cameras along the road somewhere. Because I know there's several along the road.
well, we found out Cotton Simpson's sister had a white HHR at the time. Also, Cotton Simpson also had a horse that he didn't put shoes on, right? Or
No, he was talking about someone.
oh, okay.
He didn't.
Well, never mind on that one. But we need to talk to him because I want to understand. I don't know. Maybe he'd understand why we get a call back from law enforcement. Like, okay, which is great. I was very happy that they called back. It was weird. I emailed TBI, but Hawkins County responded back to me, and it was a different investigator. This was an investigator. I'm not going to say any names right now. You'll probably know who I'm talking about. I'm just not saying it. The investigator, really, you didn't hear him mentioned early on the case, like the first year or anything. Fred never worked with him. Fred at the beginning, like the first, Fred worked with a couple officers, and last time you talked to them was when you did the lie detector for Cotton, right?
I talked to him a couple times after that.
Oh, okay. You talked, but it was when you were in.
But the only time I did talk to Pruitt was during the lie detector, the polygraph.
Yeah. So the only time that he's ever like met Pruitt was at the lie detector, but
And he just sit in on it for a few minutes, and then I made him leave.
yeah. So what I don't understand is Fred was asked about all this stuff like early on about that blue truck with those two investigators he worked with. He went around, showed them places, key areas that they should be checking and stuff, showed them the Bernard property.
Yeah, just like straight across from that property right there that's on the screen, that some wells and stuff they wasn't aware of and stuff like that.
Yeah, so he pointed out where some wells were and stuff like that. And anyways, he was asked early on about that blue truck and who that was by these investigators. I mean, it came from his cameras, like some of the pictures that the law enforcement had. So anyways, like, why did we get a call back from law enforcement? No, let me finish this. A call back from law enforcement, and what do you see?
I'm just seeing that camper. Gravis's camper. Right here.
Oh, that's old. That's old though. Video.
Looks like a camper.
Yeah, it's old video.
Yeah.
She would have been there, right?
Yeah, she does.
Unless this is like, I think this is old video. I just don't understand why we get a call back from law enforcement asking us who was driving this blue truck when Fred was already asked that 3 years ago by different investigators. And it really worries me. Really, really freaking worries me.
See, I just worried about when we contacted the TPI. The reason we contacted them, or wanted you to contact them, was because I wasn't for sure if they turned everything over to TBI and stuff, the pictures and all that. That's my concern.
Yeah. Because I'm like, well, something told me that I should email TBI and just basically tell them information that they should already know, just to make sure they had it, because Fred worked with Hawkins, and I was like, well, what if there's some kind of miscommunication between the two. You know, like,
Because at first of the case, Hawkins County didn't want TBI involved, period. They was trying to get it settled pretty quick, trying to.
they contacted me just 2 months ago, hair curlers and crime. It was 5 days after I sent the email to TBI, and then I got a call back from Hawkins, which is fine and stuff as long as they're working on it. But I've been under the impression they believe an animal took Summer, this particular investigator, and I just know that's not correct. And I really, I need answers. Andy Bernard was on the road. Why are they not freaking questioning him? I'm freaking baffled beyond belief, guys. And he's on here all the time, deny. Do you guys remember also, like, something I just remember, like, yesterday when they did that whole, like, supposed, like, raid or whatever, where they took Andy Jr.'s phone when he was staying with his grandparents, supposedly? Well, that was interesting. I wonder why they wanted Andy Jr.'s phone. AKA Damien. The same one Fred saw in a kiddie pool with Summer Wells a few weeks or so before she went missing, a month or two before she went missing.
Well, it was like 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, and they were nowhere, nobody else was around. Just Damien and Summer in this pool, like, this 19-year-old kid with this 5-year-old.
I mean, her head was shaved at that time.
Yeah, her head was shaved. Oh, yeah, it was recently. I haven't released the call yet, but people have heard it, and he confirms that Andy was on the road. I'm trying to give them their freaking, space to do what they need to do. I'd let Chris McDonough listen to it if he'd like to. I need to understand this because you guys, it's like, okay, yes, we know he was, and he said that they've questioned him several times. That's one thing he told me that irritated me. I'm like, dude, he was literally on here saying he put your phone call out here, and he even said you even told him his name hasn't come across the desk, which obviously you can lie to him and stuff. But he's on here all the time saying hasn't been questioned forever. He was only questioned once, and they're not interested in him at all. It's like, you know what I mean? No big deal. But I'm being told by this investigator just 2 months ago, oh, he's been questioned several times. There's Terry.
I mean, in May, when I had them to get my phone and stuff, they talked like that they was pushing a lot of stuff beyond Pruitt's desk because a lot of stuff wasn't going out to the TBI and stuff. The 3 investigators that took and talked to me on that date when they had that TBI agent to come from Knoxville and dip my phone when I turned that stuff in.
Yeah. You guys, TBI came all the way from Knoxville to get Fred's to dip his phone that time. They were really, very, very, very interested in it. And that was last summer, right? Yeah. They were really interested to see that conversation with the guy he was in the halfway house with. It makes you wonder, did they purposely put you there? I don't know. Like, what the hell? How did that even happen, Knoxville of all places, and then to go in there and be like, oh, yeah, like, oh, I also heard that PG was saying things like huge misinformation, saying that this guy, Marcus Washington, that I thought,
Crystal that was saying that, not PG.
No, it was PG that said it. She was live saying that he died in 2020 or 20.
That's Crystal.
Okay, well, that's not true. He died in 2023.
PG. PG didn't mention nothing about none of that.
I'm pretty sure it was PG.
It's Crystal, 100%.
Well, either way, not true. What else was she saying?
Oh, I don't know. Really, just I don't pay no attention to it when it's just all bullshit, you know.
I spoke with TBI a few weeks ago a few weeks after Summer went missing, and immediately was talking with an agent who was distant cousin through my deceased uncle. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Child was going to go down into the basement, and that this guy was going to have a clean opportunity.
Here.
They're going to have a clean opportunity
That's what you said over a couple of weeks.
to take her, and to take off.
I can't hear you over there.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to. But the only other way is you go up the driveway where you ran into a gang of dogs, basically, that were extremely loud. Were they not? I mean, I alluded to that a little bit on my show earlier, and that everybody that talks about going up there talks about the dogs, you know, and how loud and kind of off-putting they are. They're territorial creatures that live outside, and I just don't see how anybody could sneak up on there like that. That wouldn't know the area and not familiar with.
Well, there was the incident when you went up there and the boys were down and nobody around. And the boys seemed to be locked in the basement by themselves with just a mattress and in their diapers. And
a wood stove.
And CPS was called about that, guys, when that happened. And well, obviously you see that didn't work.
But they're speaking on the dogs. If you're walking onto Ben Hill Road, them dogs was barking way before you ever get to Don and them's driveway. They're always raising Cain. And if you're walking out of the holler, as soon as you catch Simpson Lane, they're done meeting you at the road raging, usually. I don't see how anybody would have got by no dog.
No. Unless the dogs knew him. Even if they knew him, I don't think
they would have got by him as if they knew him well. I know myself when I've walked out of the holler or in the holler, they've always raised Cain. I mean, there's
really. Cain. So every time.
Yeah, every time I've ever been in and out walking. And most time just driving by, if your windows down, you can hear them raising Cain. I mean, barking just by driving by.
Right.
With either the dogs or not familiar with Dawn, Candace, and the kids.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, there's going to be people that are going to agree or disagree, and okay, you're okay to answer your question. You know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. Well, you and I haven't agreed 100% on this case either. I mean, there's things that, you think, there are things that I think, and we don't necessarily mesh up. But I will tell you the one thing that I think that you and I do agree on is that the people that are involved and the parents, I don't think that they've been honest about any of it.
Totally agree.
And if that makes you a basher, if that makes you a hater, if that makes you, I mean, one thing that I've always said about this case is I refuse to let people tell me that what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling is not accurate, especially just to
Exactly.
me.
And that's what
Because
a lot of people are doing. They're trying to confuse the truth and rewrite history. Do not let people freaking rewrite history, guys. The truth is the truth. Okay? Like, it doesn't matter if you like who you like, okay? It's not about who you like. It's about getting justice for Summer Wells and getting the correct people behind bars that are probably still involved in hurting other children, in my opinion. No, an animal cannot drag someone away without leaving. I don't think so, Shannon. That's like not true. I mean, maybe at the scene, but like you're going to find blood later on. You think they're going to be able to just drag her like
But the
with
scent
nothing?
stopping
I
at
just
the
don't
road,
understand
though,
how people
you
think
know,
like that. Huh?
I mean, by the scent stopping at the road, I mean, that is.
But I guess people do. I mean, hell, supposedly one of the lead investigators believes that. So, I
Most
mean,
time the animal's not going to go to a road like that with somebody, and then the scent just stop there.
think about it, I mean, who waits 13 days to plead for their child?
something very, very interesting last night, and I think I've heard something similar about this too, and it's kind of off topic, but think about it, guys. Do you think this was all a plan all along her whole freaking life? Because her name, is there something with her name? Summer Moon Utah Wells. Summer Moon Utah Wells. A lot of freaking weird shit happens on the summer solstice with like cults and these types of groups that are into that kind of stuff, sacrificial stuff. That is summer solstice. Moon. The moon is very, very symbolic in like these type of groups too. A lot of people worship the moon, and like it's supposed to be very strong, like energetically. So the moon is super important in a lot of like the rituals. And the fact it was, summer was taken around the summer solstice, and, her name is Summer Moon. I don't freaking know, but it's been freaking me out the last few days for some reason, because I'm like, was there something in the name, too, the whole time? I've never seen a moon. I've looked into his whole chart, his whole family. I've never seen the name Moon. I've never seen a moon in the family. I did their whole chart, or his family, because I wanted to see who they were related to, and I didn't see moons.
Which was what was supposed to happen. There was no actual pleading. I mean, they did say, if you bring her, I think Dawn's words were,
just missing on summer solstice.
It seems kind of elusive. You should clear it up. Things like that. I just don't think that they've taken it as serious as it is. I mean, we're going on 4 years. This summer will be 4 years that she's been missing. And there are really no updates. They've been named
no updates. It's
as suspects. That's correct. I mean, that's a fact that Ronnie Lawson says that they are suspects everybody around Summer's case is suspects. And then I remember there were people that would get a hold of that and they would say things like, well, that means everybody in the world. No, it doesn't. It means everybody that was around Summer
I don't
that
know about
day,
that, Josh.
leading up to that.
I don't really know about. I mean, I understand that's a way to get the parents out, but the parents. I mean, I think it's obvious they're suspects, but beyond that, they haven't named any suspects, and they just say everyone's a suspect. So that means everyone. It does. I mean, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, that just means this one, that one, that one, this one, and that one." Everyone is everyone. And when he says it like that, you have to take it as that. But I do feel like the parents were focused on, but beyond that, they haven't named anybody else like specifically, And the thing is, it doesn't make freaking sense. We need answers. Why is Andy Bernard saying he was not on the road when he was on the freaking road? Why is that happening? Why? So I just agree a little bit with that statement, and I heard him say that and stuff, but I just disagree. I disagree with that because that gives people it gives people a right to sit there and bully this person and that person, like Fred, for instance. Oh, you're a suspect. It's like, who named Fred a suspect? I don't even remember anybody naming Jody Sue a suspect. So, you know what I mean? Like, or Andy.
Those are the suspects.
I wish they would freaking put out
specifically
the last video.
There it is right there.
So this is from mom. Outsider seeing her allegedly at the car jumping up and going into the house. That's where she was last seen. So that leads out to a bunch of questions, doesn't it, Josh?
There's so many.
Don't you have a lot of questions?
A lot.
In the 4 years here, we've had a lot of commitment, right? From the one who said he can't live without her, the one that went on the news and thanked everybody. There's been a lot of commitment from him and her that they're going to keep looking.
They just don't want to believe it, is what it
Josh, what say you? Are they looking?
Because it won't fit their narrative.
With, I believe it was at the 3 year date, WJHL did a piece. Candace declined again to speak on camera. And I could count, I think, on maybe one finger, maybe two fingers, mostly one. Oh, well, that's not true because she did do Dr. Phil, but that was a complete disaster. She was very reluctant about that.
Well,
But
not a complete disaster.
I feel that
not a complete disaster. They walking away thinking they freaking got to win. It was, we have people like experts like behavioral rooms saying, "Oh, I don't think they're involved," and that is very damaging. They have a huge following. Dr. Phil, a lot of people love Dr. Phil. And even though maybe some people logically would be like, I don't know. I just don't know. It was a win for the Wells. It was.
there has been no real search effort for Summer by the family. There are people that will disagree. Don has disagreed with me. He has said that I've searched high and low and things like that. God, I hope that's true, but I didn't see it.
Whatever happened to the real estate guy?
He still every now and then posts on the Find Summer Wells Facebook page, but it's gotten really political. He pushes his political beliefs on there and sort of these theories that CPS is still responsible for the disappearance of Summer, and that
Let's tell that story real
CPS.
quick. That for those that don't know, wow, I don't know how many people's in here, but anyways, the CPS thing, what actually happened when they came in, and who knows how long the freaking Wells would have had the boys after that had this incident not happened. That's freaking scary to freaking think of. Don Wells, him fucking self, had to call CPS him fucking self to tell him to go come get the boys. Why? I mean, how many calls do they need to CPS? Like Don Wells calls, oh, we're scared. He's cracked out his mind, you know, and freaking out. Drives down to Fred's for some odd reason because he knows Fred saw some shit and he's afraid of what Fred said, or Fred saw, I mean, that day. So he kept trying to go over there and trying to see what Fred knew when they weren't even buddies like that. So it was very odd anyways. Then he shows up like how long after when the boys were taken? I guess that would have been a month or month and a half. August, I think. He shows up and that was the same incident where it would have been, well, no, it was the same with the incident where he said he was giving away all that crack cocaine.
Because he showed up and wanting to smoke, and offering to smoke and stuff with us and stuff.
Yeah, he was trying to smoke.
They tried to want to know if I cared if he rocked it up and re-rocked it and all that. And then he got talking about, he left for a while after that. And then he come back, was talking about something about wanting me to go to Knoxville with him to try to negotiate a deal with him over something. But I didn't really understand what it was about.
Yeah.
And then he stayed there for about 30 minutes or something. And then he leaves, and then he comes back in about an hour later and said that he had called the CPS because the boys wasn't safe there and stuff because of YouTubers. What he tried to allow. And then he said something about wanting me to get rid of my phone. I've not had no contact with Don on no phone or nothing. Why would I get rid of my phone? He said, and he was talking about he destroyed his phone because he thought that they was tracking him in Knoxville that night.
Yep. And that's the same call on the phone call. He tells on himself all the time, you guys.
But
like
it makes me wonder, why was he so scared about the boys? I mean, after I look back on it now, from what I know now and what I didn't know then, from what I'm gathering now, he was more scared about what he had done in Knoxville and owed and stuff, and because nobody go with him to negotiate a deal. Was he scared because maybe they was going to come and get the boys because of the debt? Is what way I took it, you know. Is that why he actually called for them to come on and get the boys instead of being scared of YouTubers and stuff? I mean, that's just been a big thing I've been thinking about.
Yeah. And he was worried about a debt and you know, and Fred was like, well, you know, try to get out of an amount or whatever. Did he tell you an amount?
He didn't talk on them now.
And yep. So he called, he called
the
CPS himself. And it was when he was all paranoid on crack cocaine. He had bought a large amount of crack cocaine. That's when he said he was being the crack fairy in that phone call I had with him.
By what data I turned in from when they get my phone and stuff, he had took and still owed like $8,000 or something on that deal. But when Tom Summer went missing and stuff, supposedly he had a $40,000 debt to the same people.
Yeah, that's what the guy in Knoxville that claimed to be affiliated with Don's drug dealer, who is allegedly a vice lord, who I think now is unfortunately not with us anymore. I feel like, of course, everybody's freaking dying. Like, we need to get this show on the road.
Kidnapped the other three in the house as well, the boys. And that it's been floated that CPS by Dawn and Tim Mullen, that CPS is responsible for this. And I think he may have told you that as well.
Yeah, he did.
And I don't think it went over very well with you, and he backed down, didn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe in the Easter Bunny too. So
Right.
might as well keep it consistent. I mean, as Elf said, walking into the office looking for his dad, you look rather purpley. Okay.
Yeah.
The fact that he even is in the dialogue.
Back at the possible debt of $50K. Well, allegedly, according to the lady of the night phone call, allegedly Dawn was in prison with this guy a long time ago, and that's where he met him. Allegedly, that's the story, though, guys. We don't know, like, if there's been a lot of people lie, but I mean, a lot of stuff lines up with this. Knoxville keeps coming up. It seems to really fit that lady of the night woman could have been telling the truth. I think she was changing some names around and stuff. I think she was actually the woman herself. I wish she would get a hold of me again. And I know it's scary, but I would really love to hear from her again.
In the conversation, when you do a compare and contrast to a mother who's actually lost a baby, let's use Brandy as an example.
Yeah.
To a father who is probably holding back. Well, he is holding back information. There's no question.
Mm-hmm.
People can take that for what they want, but
Yeah,
I've been batting 1,000 on this. Just this picture alone speaks volumes.
Yeah, look at him.
You
can't even see him that well in that.
And the fact that he, gets this other dude to do, whatever he was going to do, his TV appearances and all this other stuff, and then turn it into a little party with Dr. Phil. Take pictures
and
and
a lot of you
send
guys, and a lot of you, and it's going to come out too. Any of the YouTubers who were partying with the dwells up there, drinking, drugging it up. Yeah, that shit's going to come out. And Jose throwing his phone in this ocean after seeing on Facebook that Candace had a Subaru. And dreams that Dawn had saying something was going to happen to her. Two specific names came up from Ben Hill Road about the debt. Yep. Two names. This guy in Knoxville that Fred was in the halfway house with mentions Don Wells and Andy Bernard. This guy claims to be affiliated with the Vice Lords and this guy named Playboy. So it was all turned in. Well, law enforcement took that so seriously that they literally drove. Like, Fred had to wait there, and well, he didn't have to, but he did because they wanted to keep his phone overnight, but he couldn't because he had to go back, and that's when he was ordered to stay at that transitional living house because of the drug charges he had or has. And anyways, okay, where was I going with that? Okay, so I was talking about Oh yeah, they drove. Fred waited. They had to drive all the way from Knoxville. TBI came all the way from Knoxville to get Fred's phone. That was last summer. 2 months ago, I get a call back from one of my emails. So, they are like checking into things and stuff. And maybe the investigator was trying to give me a little nudge, like, hey, that's what we need. We need who's driving this blue truck. That's why I keep telling you guys this. And somebody out there knows who has this blue truck, this dark blue GMC Canyon, about 2005 to 2007. It looked like it had a new paint job. Even the windows, dark. You couldn't see in them at the sides at all. On the front, you could only make out that there was 2 people in there. Somebody knows this vehicle.
Yep.
But see, Fred saw it there that day for the first time and then never again. First and last time on June 15th, 2021. Following Andy out of the hauler. Yep. But Andy wasn't on the road, right? When's he gonna fucking admit that shit? Has he come up with his freaking story for why he was on the road yet? I mean, come on. Somebody give us an explanation before I freaking go bonkers over here. I mean, seriously.
I mean, it was crazy at the details that boy was going into and stuff with a lot of stuff I turned into the law enforcement.
Oh, I'm sorry, Terry. I didn't know you were friends with, is Lucy Cat one of your friends or family? Can you say who they were? Which ones? Hair Curler's Crime? Like, as far as what?
Talking about the 2 that names was mentioned.
Oh, yeah, Don and Andy Bernard.
Don and Andy was the only 2 names mentioned.
Don and Andy Bernard.
And from what Dennis had told, I mean, that Don was still even visiting Knoxville, seeing Summer at certain points, every 2
Yeah,
weeks.
allegedly, Don was still visiting Summer. Who knows what is true with that? I don't know. We'd love to think Summer's still alive.
All I know is what was in the text between me and that boy and stuff, and some messages that he had recorded and stuff, or not video, but audio and stuff inside where they were supposed to be in at that motel.
Yeah. He claimed to have, I
mean, he talked about even them moving between 2 houses and 3 different motels, not just her, other children as well.
Yeah. And that's why this is super important, because
2 names was mentioned more. Children names was Summer Wells and Jonathan Tate. He kept mentioning Jonathan Tate was the only boy there.
Yeah, which I can't find a Jonathan Tate unless there's.
There's supposed to be 10 girls and 1 boy that they was moving between 3 motels and 2 houses.
Yeah. And, Fred, they got out a map and everything. Fred pinpointed the motels over there in Knoxville that he believes are key areas.
I was told that they had been moved in between.
I don't know. I want strawberries, and I don't know. I hope to God it's not something like that, because that just gets scary. I mean, it's already dangerous as is, but to fight then the law enforcement, to be against law enforcement, corrupted law enforcement, I pray to God that's not who we're up against.
But I do know that the week after they dipped the phone and stuff, the following week, they sent a special unit out of Texas and some marshals to Knoxville they called it a training exercise, but they did get several children from certain motels.
Yeah, but we don't know if it's related.
Released.
Yeah, they don't release names. They don't tell you, oh yeah, we got, they don't tell you anything.
But I do know that they do
Usually-
get children, you know.
What is FND? I don't know. FND. I have the same thing, nerve pain and does everyone here know the sick background of Chris? Right now we're talking about the sick background of Dawn and Candace. So we're going to stay focused just because I listen. It doesn't change Dawn and Candace and what happened to Summer. So we're not going to distract and focus on other people that are obviously not suspects. Let's focus on Summer Wells and getting her justice.
I mean, from what I understand and stuff, if the Knoxville thing is 100% legit with what that boy said and stuff, Candace is most likely lied to.
No.
That's what I'm under the impression.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. Is
because the boy that done the recordings and stuff talked about Summer was just supposed to be in there just for a short time until Dawn brought the money back. Well, Dawn didn't bring the money back. They reported her missing, and then it changed the whole ball game, is what the boy was stating. They wasn't no returning her once they reported her missing.
Wow. So I wonder. Yeah, I kind of feels like. But see, Candace had to have known something. Like but I think she believed they were going to get Summer back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to say myself.
Yeah. So Morristown's definitely a key area in this case that keeps coming up too. Morristown, definitely. Some of the people, why this has been able, why this still there's just so many people, so many suspects, or so many people that are involved in some bad things here. A lot of them back there, and they're all covering each other's secrets because there was crimes going on that led up to Summerwell's disappearance. It wasn't just like, oh, her life was like happy, joy, and then she, suddenly something bad had happened to her. No, it had been going on, in my opinion. I hope not.
California and all that stuff.
It feels like law enforcement could be, or some could be.
I think there's a lot of stories behind this photograph. What do you think?
Obviously, it's not all of them, but what's interesting too is like what the investigator said when Fred went to have his phone dipped last summer when he had that conversation with when he was that guy in Knoxville. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on, I was looking at something. She thought she was getting her back or done. Yeah, so it was allegedly it was supposed to be temporary, is what that boy was saying. Or man, whatever. He's in his 30s, I think. But he was saying like, oh, it was supposed to be but yet something about when reporting her missing, but yet they reported her missing supposedly the same day, but I mean, it was a few hours, I believe. It took them a few hours to everyone says, but that is just so they don't have to do work. I know. That whole blanket statement, everyone is a suspect, that is lazy. But you guys, we just have to pray that maybe these things take time, and maybe it's all part of the plan, all part of the method to the madness. Make people feel comfortable, make them think that nothing's happening. Oh, we don't have anything. Oh, we're still at square one. Oh, shit. That would be a relief to the suspects. They're people who know what they know about Summer's disappearance. Maybe they're trying to make them relax, and that's what they've been doing this whole time. Maybe they don't want them taken off. They want to follow them around and get all... I don't know. But if there is some higher ups involvement, I do know that's what I was going to say about you turning on your phone. They wanted to avoid a certain investigator. They said it was not getting to pass certain investigators' desks because he thought that animal took Summer. That was something that another investigator said about one of the main investigators on Summer Wells' case. And they're like just so hell-bent that an animal got her. Is that real? Do they really believe that? Or is there like a reason for not investigating? I mean, it's obvious. I know for an absolute fact, Andy Bernard was on the road. I know that. They know that. Fred knows that. Why? They have leads. Why aren't they going on that lead? That doesn't make sense. And then, how frustrating it is to see these articles. Oh, still at square one. We still don't have anything.
They've got a lot more than they want to allow. They got.
I hope. It could, definitely, the Sure-Fees are back there too, Strawberries, and, that
I
whole...
don't think Donnie Chambers had nothing to do with it, period, or his son.
I know his son did hang out with Candace, but when he...
That was the tale. I don't know. I've never seen them around each other, period.
But didn't she used to drive the kids up there to play, or she would sit up there at Chambers?
Well, she would sit out there at the stop sign, and the kids play up down the road there. Ben Hill down to that creek down there. Mm. She would sit there, let them ride their bicycles and stuff a lot of times and play. But I always just seen her sitting in her vehicle, so I don't know. I've never seen them communicating with each other.
It's 7:58 Eastern time. Look at all the people who have said Ellie never got back to them. Yeah, but sometimes it's like they might know the information already, Maybe they already know. They know. I know they know. Andy was on the road. I have them on tape saying it. Also, I just know because Fred worked with the police and showed them all over the place. And I've literally witnessed Fred talking to people about it, like police and stuff, and I don't think that Fred's lying, going to law enforcement being, oh, I recorded for the police on the 15, 16 something, and just completely lying and making it up. Oh yeah, that would look really freaking stupid and dumb. Not only it was even more than that too, guys. It was actually a few weeks that Fred rode around with them and showed them places and stuff.
Yeah, it's a little over a week.
Oh, over a week. Okay.
And just see, you can see that Don has been, I would say he's been sort of public about, his substance abuse issues, but they're obvious. So, he doesn't have much of a choice there, but, he looks totally spun out. He's an admitted alcoholic and habitual drug user. And I'm not downing him for that. A lot of people have substance abuse issues, no question about it. But Don is a career criminal, and he I mean, he's been in trouble for some really odd and disturbing things, i.e., stealing panties from strangers' homes.
Go figure.
Convicted of it. Not only charged, but convicted. And it takes a really special, in a bad way, a special kind of person to do things like that.
Yeah, and the fact he sat there for hours just waiting for the opportunity to do that, guys. You know, like, who knows how many times he did shit like that and didn't get caught. What were you gonna say? I said, were you gonna say something? Oh, okay.
And you know, I think he was caught with cocaine at that time, the same time that happened. And he's got a history of drug abuse. But I think one of the biggest things about the case that always struck me was, you know, and I know that there are people that defend him and do feel bad for them. And don't get me wrong, anybody that's had this, their lives have been tragic. Dawn's, by a lot of his own doing, most of it. Candace's, a lot of that is her own doing. The children is not theirs. It's not their doing. But they have lost every child that they've ever had custody of. And this goes back over 20 years. They've had both of them were on their second set of children. Both of them in previous relationships had two different children. Possibly, I think Candace 3, correct?
Yep.
One of them taken at the hospital.
Yep.
And because of drugs, and then the other by CPS. And then Don lost his children to CPS with his first wife. And then you have the 3 boys.
Let's see. What's this first saying? What's that word? Hold on. Surely I've read this before. Well, I don't know what solvivi. What's that mean? Survive? I can't even read what that says. I'm sorry, my beautiful girl, that I completely lost my mind with so many thoughts of people harming you, and I know you want to come home, and there's nothing I can do. I'm powerless. So I ask God, please look over my precious daughter. We love her so much. We wish God you will return her to us as well as the boys. I would be so happy to be a family again. And then he says, please bow for the Lord's Prayer. Since you've been gone, I've been completely devastated. I looked everywhere for you, my beautiful girl. No, you didn't. I thought YouTube would be the most powerful tool to help find you, and perhaps it still could be, but at a price we may not be able to afford. Our family may not survive. Lost my mind. Okay, so that's what the word right here was. Survive. I'm sorry, my beautiful girl, that I completely lost my mind with so many thoughts of people harming you, and I know you want to come home. And there's nothing I can do. I'm powerless. So I ask God, please look over my precious daughter. We love her so much. We wish God you will return her to us as well as the boys. I would be so happy to be a family again. Yeah.
That were taken. And then Summer, who just went missing.
Yeah, I've read that.
Vanished off the face of the earth.
Yeah. Remember the letter where he writes, I know?
Yes.
In the context of the letter. I've always found that, worth a question. Why does he know? Why does he know this? And remember this one?
Completely lost my
I completely lost my mind. What does that mean?
Well, one of the things that he did during this is he did go on sort of a social media tour.
It's right here, remember, on the second. Let's see here. That I completely lost my mind.
Yeah, he knows where she's at, just like he's saying right
Go ahead.
here.
I went on the.
He says, I know, okay, it says, with so many thoughts of people harming you, and I know you want to come home, and there's nothing I can do. I'm powerless. You know why she's not home. There was something you could do. You're the one that put her there in that position to be harmed, to take care of your freaking dads. You're, oh, yeah, you're, you know. And until you admit it to the world and tell you you're going to go to hell. So, I mean, I don't know why you think God's going to protect you and like, oh, welcome, my son. You killed your daughter and thought you could cover it up with acting like you support, cover it up with God's word. No, that's like a huge no. And well, in my world, I mean, I don't know in your guys' religion, and maybe in his, maybe not his, I guess. Has TBI checked Blue Roof Dawn's property for summer?
They're supposed to check everybody's property down there, so. I didn't witness it myself. No, I don't know. No, I just go by what I was told,
Dawn has told a lot of truths in the like phone calls and stuff like I had with him and others have had with him. He tells us exactly. I mean, all these, he even talks about being in hotel rooms and seeing children traded for drugs and stuff. Like, he's lived that lifestyle. He's living that lifestyle. He's around people like that. I mean, it just makes sense. Just got here and I was wondering if anyone else thinks that man that PG showed last night in her live looks like Joseph Wells. Does anyone else think that he looked like the man at the church? I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure. Yeah, and does he? No way is God going to accept him into no. No loving God would take in a man that was such a coward who unalived his own daughter. Well, whatever he did, whatever allegedly happened, or no, that's just not how it works. Like, you need to take your punishment here, own up to it, and tell 100% the truth. Like, that's your only freaking shot at redemption, or really not redemption. I mean, in God's eyes anyways, not mine, but yep, a lot of help. Oslo.
He went on the social media tour and he acted kind of wild. And so I don't know if he was referring to before Summer went missing. But, he talked about these premonitions. He would talk about, I knew that something bad was going to happen to her, that Candace was hanging out with the wrong
people. And
people.
that's weird too. That's why I said, is there something in her name? I mean, Summer Moon, Utah Wells, Summer Moon. She goes missing near the summer solstice. Moon, that's very spiritual. I don't know what really Utah, haven't figured out, but Wells, like even Wells could be, I don't know. It's just, I've never studied, been into a cult or any type of satanic type of weird shit, so I wouldn't know. But I do know that name is interesting, and she did go missing near the summer solstice, which I know a lot of freaking weirdos do weird shit during that time, is what I've learned since the start of this case.
People, but I always, and he would say, I always told Candace to, protect my baby, that something, I always knew that something bad was going to happen to her. And voila, I don't know if that's drug induced. I don't know if he knew that she just wasn't safe in the hands of Candace, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why somebody would feel that way. And he would say that he would have like dreams about it and stuff.
Yeah, he would remember he saw her a couple of times where in his way of saying, I saw her in the resurrection, I'll see her again in the resurrection. I have this feeling that she's being held somewhere
Again
in a dungeon, tied up, being tortured and essayed.
Yeah.
I mean, does that I'm curious. Is that how grieving fathers
right, Carrie?
see their missing children?
I've followed a lot of cases of missing people and children. I've yet to come across one that has said anything remotely close to that. And not only that, within just a couple of weeks.
You have to also, like, it's not just expressing it with your mouth, you have to live it too. If you're not doing what they call the works, God's works, you can't be a Christian or godly person if you are sitting there asking for God's forgiveness, but then lying to everybody. Is he going to ask for forgiveness every second of the day? I don't know. You're not sorry because you're at all. You get no forgiveness. You are not telling us what, you're not telling the world what happened to Summer Wells, a 5-year-old child, defenseless. And she had to pay because of her father's bad choices, in my opinion, parents' bad choices, in my opinion. She had to pay her whole life. In my opinion. Kind of wondered if it wasn't known from the start. Kind of wonder if there wasn't more children.
That was the ultimate sacrifice of Summer, I feel like.
Yeah, because that's what they wanted to use. That's what allegedly, Rick Crawford Sr. was saying. What he claimed that Dawn was saying that he had to sacrifice her for his sins so he could, and is what Rick Crawford was saying before he passed away. Right? What he was telling you is something about, Dawn was crying and saying it was like Summer was a sacrifice and for some kind of like just weird shit, guys. I don't know. I
feel like she sacrificed due to what he was talking about, due to the death or whatever.
Yeah.
He sold his soul to the devil.
Right, exactly. You can't keep committing the same sins after you ask. Exactly. You have to change your way and learn from your mistakes, not just on Sundays. Yeah. But I'm not God, so I don't get to make that decision. But just from my understanding of it, that seems to be how it works.
So just a couple of weeks of going missing, So no, I don't think so. I don't think that's how
it doesn't matter how many
grieving father.
Things you do either. You can't make up for such a thing just by doing other good things, like which obviously he's not doing anyways.
Almost like we're done already. You know what I mean? Like it was that first interview, and I showed some of that on my channel just before this. But it was sort of like, well, I don't really have much hope, and I'm sorry that everybody had to come out here and search. And I just didn't feel. I didn't feel that there was any urgency. I didn't feel that there was any passion in his words. And I've seen Dawn get upset.
Do you remember what Summer was wearing when she was in the pool? Did she have a bathing suit or anything on?
I think she had a bathing suit on.
Okay. Okay.
About stuff. And you could call it passion, you could call it anger, you could call it whatever you want.
So, I mean, you would have noticed.
I just feel like I would be
probably if it would have been weird if she
stood up out of the pool or nothing.
Yeah.
Neither one of them. I never got out of the vehicle. I pulled up to talk to Dawn, and Dawn wasn't there.
Mm.
Candace come out of the house after I pulled up. And I asked if Dawn was there, and she said no, and I left.
Yeah.
Pretty angry. If my child went missing like that, I would be distraught and angry, and I don't know that many people that wouldn't be. I've seen people not be distraught about it, but it always ends up the same way, that they end up being either responsible or have knowledge of what happened. But those are the only people that I've ever seen felt that way, you know.
What do you think about the investigation to date? What's your thought?
Well, looking back on it, 3.5 years later,
You got to draw a top.
criticizing law enforcement is sometimes it's a tough thing, but I just don't understand how they weren't charged with, neglect or some sort of child abuse. I mean, they had 3 children taken from them, which is supposed to be a pretty high standard to remove children. I mean, you've been involved in those things as a detective, a police officer. It's not you. It's a pretty high bar. There has to be a pretty high level of neglect going on, and they cannot just take your children because a child goes missing. I mean, that's not grounds to take children unless they think that they're in imminent danger. And if they're in imminent danger, that means that there are things that were going on in that house. I have no idea why they have never to this day been charged with anything. And I always remember Leslie Earhart when she gave the TBI update. She said, if we end up, with suspects or, we will update you on that. The only suspects that have ever been named are the people that are close to Summer. Ronnie Lawson said that at one point, I think it was about a year after, that they weren't cooperating anymore.
Yeah.
They had lawyers. How often do you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, that should raise the hair on the back of your neck, right? I mean, Michael Vaughn's been missing for 3 years, and his mother was just on TV again last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, she's what a typical mother of a missing child would feel like. It, and a counterclaim that people always throw out is, well, there's no book or template or playbook for how somebody is supposed to act when their child goes missing. I mean, I think that there kind of is, Chris.
Well, I mean,
and also like when you've got two, a group of people or a couple people acting the same, off, that's definite, like odd, because it's, I don't see how I would be like freaking out.
I mean, I think it's human nature. If your child goes missing, you're going to go to hell and back to find it.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, if somebody, and this is just, or hyperbole, okay? If somebody told you that your child was at the top of Mount Everest, you've never climbed a mountain before, and the only way for that child to come down is for you to climb that mountain. But there's a possibility that you're not going to make it. But you're their hope. You're their only hope. Do you climb that mountain? Of course you do.
Absolutely.
And
do you dig under the mountain and dig your way up to the top? The answer would be yes. Absolutely yes. And when you don't even want to lift the shovel, then you have to sit back and you go, okay, well, wait a minute, what is this? What does this mean? And so TBI gave their typical Hey, by the way, tomorrow's the anniversary of, her birthday.
Right.
Oh, by the way, Summer is not 9 years old for the record. Summer is 5 years old. She will always be 5 years old until she's found. And when she is found, if she's found deceased, she will be 5 years old.
Forever.
Forever. And that means whoever took her life, if that's the case, is a person that took the life of a 5-year-old. So now we have to think about that. Who would do that? Not why, not yet, but who? Right now, we're into this 4 years. And when we think a little bit deeper, I kind of had a hint early on. Now, you're going to remember this, but you can't. The wind was blowing really bad.
And they're can lie
People lie.
to law enforcement, to everybody. It makes me so mad that it just makes my blood boil.
Right. So she disappears.
I don't know what else to say.
What are the possibilities in your mind? I know what your heart's saying. Do you see how she responded when I said she disappears? She puts her hands up and goes, I don't know what to say. Did I ask her to say something?
No.
Your heart's saying she's with somebody. And by the way, this is just before I had my stroke. You can hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Remember. Yeah, I remember.
I was probably having a minor problem going on.
I remember watching this.
Sharing a little bit more unnecessary.
Well, you kind of have a lisp, like a natural sort of
I've
lisp.
had a lisp for my life, but
Which is fine. The ladies love that. But I'm telling you that you did sound a little. How did you feel here?
yeah, I felt good, and that's why it snuck up on me.
It sure did.
But the Lord kept me here because, as Commander Gabert says, we work for God.
I remember. I mean, it was you had a lot going on at that time. I also remember watching this and remember watching your ring get stuck on something too. That distracted me for a minute. But I thought that this was probably one of the best interviews. Well, obviously there aren't very many of Candace, but I truly did think that you were really compassionate and kind. And when I first saw this, I didn't know you yet. You and I hadn't been introduced. And when I watched it, I was like, man, he's really like a kind, compassionate person, because that house was in disarray. But I mean, you've seen a lot of homes, you've went into a lot of homes that were disastrous and things like that. I mean, were you shocked by that?
I was, when she said down here, and I walked over there and I looked down and I was like, what the heck is that? Like a dungeon or a cave? What's going on there?
Right.
Yeah.
And she went in backwards, as you saw. And I said, hey, is there another way in? Now, what was interesting about that question and her response is, no, this is the way my husband comes as well, and he's about your size or something to that effect. I don't remember exactly. And next thing you know, I figured, my sweetheart's okay. She's out in the truck, so we're coaching there.
Low sign.
And I didn't have my equalizer on me, which is one of my good friends, Mr. Glock.
But I
Right,
might,
and that was a no-no, by the way.
Yeah, I know that. He usually hangs.
I have to borrow it sometimes to show people it. For an example, she stole my hello light up sign that I made. Isn't it cool? Yeah, I agree, Bridget. Yep. I know that law enforcement can't say a lot about CPs coming to the home. I just can't understand why law enforcement has never said that they were at their house on the day before the 15th. I mean, CPS. They were at their house the day before. What would they be at their house to be? I'm trying to remember. What would they be at their house the day before for on the 14th? Oh, CPS. Was it? Wait, wasn't it though? Something about the day of. I don't freaking so much.
Things around, but for some reason I left him with Karen, so for obvious reasons. And I went down that stairwell, and you know, it was interesting. A couple thoughts came to me: is could she have fallen down the stairwell? As I'm going down the stairwell, my mind's going 100 miles an hour. Could she have fallen down the stairwell? Is it possible? And I could never take that off the plate for me in my head. And then as we were getting down and I saw the stuff on the TV, and I looked to the left, it was pitch black. I looked to the right, you can just barely see some sunlight coming in through the window on the door, which illuminated like kind of a streak of light into the basement.
Right.
And Candace made that right turn. And I wanted to stay to the left as much as possible because I wanted to see the bedroom situation. But here, I think I still go back to, I have always treated people with respect, because just because somebody has done something bad doesn't always mean that it couldn't have been an accident or something to that effect. So we've always got to keep that in mind, especially as an investigator. And you're not investigating people again. You're always investigating information. What information is flowing? And here, she started to, I think, from the first time I met her.
Yeah, she seems darling, and very beautiful. So it's the closest CPS case. Yeah, I do remember something like that. Dawn said it, but who knows what's truth.
She was carrying so much weight. The boys had been taken. Summer's gone.
I didn't know
She was kind of giving up a little on life, I thought.
Yeah.
She started to cry, and there was some sense of sincerity there.
No
there
question.
was a heavier weight behind her. There was a heavier weight behind her, and you can really hear it here right now. How would we know how to connect that dot, you and me?
Well, like, for instance, that Dobbs guy that was supposed to be camping across at my neighbor's house.
Right.
He was there that same time. And then Tony Hammonds, whoever the hell he is, he was down through there.
Who was there when you got home?
There was nobody there. There was my mom mentioned the blue van across at my neighbor's house, but I just figured she had company.
Okay.
I didn't know about that was the guy that was trying to move in there. I didn't know that at the time.
Okay.
And so I didn't think nothing. I just figured it was the neighbors.
He didn't have a blue van. He had an SUV, but
I had visitors.
Okay.
You know, I didn't think nothing about that. I gotta stop.
Right here.
I can't do no more.
That is a behavioral shift where she's thinking about
probably what happened.
something.
Mm-hmm.
she's thinking about, all of the what ifs, but then she gets to another door in her mind, and she even says it there. My mind is, okay, I wanted to have her go to that place.
Yeah.
And you can really, you can not only sense it, but you can physically
Right,
see it
girl.
where she stops.
Well, and it's a hard stop because she's in the moment, she's talking, and she makes a conscious effort and says, I got to stop, because it seemed like it was just becoming too real. Like it was almost like she was reliving what was happening or what had happened. And then, it was kind of her way of just shutting down, like it was like, I got to stop. It's,
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, good. Light it up.
I just don't
Light
like,
it up,
no,
girl.
I don't like to breathe in other
No, go
people's
blow
face.
it. Go,
It's
go.
you
not
should have
I'm not
smoked a
gonna-
cig with her.
I don't smoke ciggies, but I didn't care if she lit one up. And because it's a stress reliever for her, I want to have her vent some of that stress, so that if it builds up again, I wanted to see it.
Don't worry about me. Should see me drive.
So right at that point, Candace had also saw Dave Radar's crew walk by. Really? Why would Candace post that photo of the oldest boy in the motocross gear? Yeah, I don't know. That was so strange too. That was very weird. We never got an explanation from that, did we? Ever. They never answer anything that's like important. Like,
I'm a mess when I
You
drive.
can't drive like that.
You got a lot going on, Candace. I respect you. I'm sorry that you're having all this problem.
Had you made, but let me ask you this really quick, Chris. You had no preconceived notion of what happened at this point, correct?
No, but I've been in this situation hundreds of times.
And how did you, there's another question, but how did you end up at 110 Ben Hill? It wasn't your own doing.
No, she invited me.
Right. But I mean, you were in Tennessee doing something else, weren't you?
Yeah, I was working with the Cold Case Foundation. We were working on another case in West Tennessee, and we were working with Mom there, and got that situation resolved. And Greg called me and said, "Hey, would you take a look at what's going on over there near?"
they didn't know anyone would be there. What did I just do?
You, meaning me at the time.
Yeah, because you were in the you were in the area,
Right.
sort of. Yeah.
And he goes, it's a missing kid right up your alley. Go see if you can help. And so my intention initially when we got there, because, I know Dave Roush, and I called because he's with TBI, he's the director of TBI, and I called the office and I said, "Hey, I don't want any details on this because I know you can't tell me anyway at this point, but I'm going to be in the area. I'm going to go poke around with the camera, basically." And that's how I kind of got in the middle of it. And they shipped me a link, a Dropbox link, and I uploaded everything to that Dropbox. And for folks that say, "Oh, you screwed it up, or you did this, you did that," which is fine. Okay. They had no idea I was behind the scenes in Michael Vaughn's case either. And, when I say I uploaded stuff, they're like, "No, you didn't." I said, "Okay."
I remember that.
When you see me on the stand one day with my hand up and you hear it, then, I expect a whole bunch of letters saying what? And, I mean, just recently with other stuff going on, people.
Unfortunately, you won't get just like other certain ones that deserve apologies and stuff. Unfortunately, we'll never get it. But I don't see why people think Chris McDonough ruined the case. That's silly. Yeah, that's just silly. That's silly. That's ridiculous. Everybody wants somebody to blame, right? It's YouTube's fault. It's Chris McDonough's fault. It's I mean, yes, there's been a lot of it. I don't know. Who knows? Until we figure it out, until the answers come out, and we don't know why it's taken so long. If answers ever come out. Why they dressed her brother as a girl? Fred, did you dress her brother as a girl? I don't ever see her brother dressed as a girl. That sounds like something that PG would freaking put out. And I've heard like they could dress Summer, like a boy, because shave her head, make her look like a boy, like possibly something like that. I've heard theories of maybe they were doing all that shit, but I've never seen any. I remember somebody saying something about one of the boys in a dress, but I don't remember ever seeing that.
We're like, holy crap. And yeah, that's kind of what happens when you've been in this business for a couple of weekends. And so she is right on the fence here. She's right on the fence. I know she is. And maybe it's not, I want to tell you everything that happened. Maybe it's, I want to tell you what could have happened, and perhaps somebody else did, or maybe I did. I don't know how it would work out. Okay. But I knew we were close because her tears were genuine. I will give that to Candace. I've said this from the very beginning. Now, was she potentially fooling me? I've said from the beginning as well, no, it's not my first rodeo.
Yeah, I think this was very sincere. A human can only go through, and Candace has had a really tragic life.
Oh, it's horrible.
And Dawn as well. I mean, they both growing up, they both were just not raised, in a proper environment, and they'll tell you that.
Dawn was raised in the prison system.
That's a fact.
And he said that, I was raised in the penitentiary.
He knows the system.
Right. And so I don't have as much empathy there.
Right.
Well, me neither, but Candace, yes, I know what you mean.
But for her,
and I still have a little empathy for Candace or I guess we do, because we feel like now once we find out the truth, it could totally freaking change, obviously, and will probably. But she could have been lied to. She could have been lied to with exactly what happened. I feel like she knew somewhat, but I think Don probably lied to her about exactly just because he knew he was in some shit. And I mean, how do you freaking, God, bring up something like, we'll just give our daughter over for a debt. Nobody does that or even goes there in their mind, unless you're already in that lifestyle. And Don Wells has talked about being in that lifestyle, seeing things like that. Nobody sees shit like that. Somebody else who I've seen stuff like that when nobody else sees shit like that? Andy Bernard. Have you guys ever had somebody come up to you and offer you young girls in the back of a van? Would you like any? Really? And even Andy admitted to that incident. Why would somebody ever risk going up to somebody that they don't know if they are into that lifestyle? Why would they ever risk that? And be like, I just go up to Miranda, oh, would you like one? No. No, Andy, that does not happen in your world, my world, any world. That's not how it works. No. You've been around it. You've seen it. Literally, I've never seen such a thing in my life. I don't know anybody like that's in my family or anybody like friends that's ever talked about, oh, I saw, this person offered me this child, and oh, I saw this child being traded. That's like something that you don't see. It's very well hidden. Like, you don't see unless you are looking for it or you are in that lifestyle. Yeah, country girl. Even Jody Sue speaks about Andy's in his runs to Knoxville. I mean, we believe that they take trips together. Yeah, we believe that, but I don't think there's any proof out there. I don't know if Jody Sue said that they did before or not. Did you get it? Oh, shit.
She was running. She was running. And the drugs, the alcohol, remember, those are just pain suppressants, right? They're just to help the emotions make it to the next day, because there's such an emotional pile of information that's built up. And a lot of times, you have to go back and you do have to look at their lives and say, okay, well, tell me a little bit about your life and what happened. So, to this point here, as Kelly says, and I agree with this 100%. Summer did not have a chance. And I agree. And isn't that interesting? We don't get to choose who our parents are on this earth.
Certainly.
And you know that more than anybody, Josh. You
know it as well, if not better than most.
Yeah. But she was on the fence here, I think. And you can really see the emotion.
And no matter what we say, you or me, somebody's going to question it.
It doesn't matter what I say or do or try to prove to people. Somebody's always going to twist my stuff.
Right.
And for that one woman to go on there that works with Allie, she don't know me and my kids. She don't know what they do every day.
I believe that's Miss Leslie she's talking about, correct?
So what?
That was Miss Leslie that she was referring to there?
Yeah.
Who passed away.
Is Allie passed away too, right?
Allie passed away as well, yeah.
Miss Leslie passed away?
Yep. So you sat on that porch with 4 people that day. 2 of them are gone. And not very old either. I mean, I don't know. Allie,
is grandma, their grandmother?
I believe she's still alive, yeah.
So there's Hunter and the grandmother still here and the sister.
Yes. And I believe that, I think that's great grandmother.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't remember if Jody Sue had at one time said that. I thought I remember Jody Sue saying at one time that they had gone to Knoxville together. I thought she said it, and then later on said no, contradicted herself, but I can't remember correctly with that one.
I think her nickname was Great Grandma at the time, because she had there was a lot of grandmas and great grandmas, involved.
Most of my boys work here. They tell you.
Well, I've seen a lot of your pictures.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes. You know what I mean? That speaks a lot. That says a lot. Nobody's perfect though, right?
No, I'm not perfect.
I'm not
Hell
perfect
no, I'm
by any
perfect.
means, shape, or thought.
Never have been perfect. Never meant to try to be perfect.
And me neither. I mean, you.
I am a person just like you,
Yep.
or your wife.
That's
or
right.
That person out there on that jet ski.
That's right.
I'm no different than anybody else.
We all make mistakes. There's no question about that.
Now, it's interesting, as we stand there, I've often wondered, is this the image? And
That's crazy,
a
Carol.
lot of times, with guilty knowledge, they're processing so much.
And to know she didn't, yeah.
And over time, as you talk to him, you talk to people, they start to unwind. But can you imagine, we're standing right there at the water's edge, and I purposely asked her if she would take me down there because of this. And that's why I went to the water's edge and stood with her. Now, it's the first time I've said that, since I've been covering this thing. But that was my intent.
Mm.
And if I ever testified in court, I was going to say, yeah, I took her down there because there was a video. And I had her stand right at the edge and had her explain to me where and what was going on that day. And it's interesting, everything as we started to walk down there, she made that comment. Do you remember what she said, Josh?
No. Was it about her mother?
No, she said everything's in slow motion.
Yeah, okay, I remember that. Definitely.
Okay. So what's happening up here, she can't control it out here because it's like this movie is playing. Okay. And I've always wondered, is that the movie that she was playing?
No question about it.
Meaning, is it a made-up story, the video, and that she's played it into the narrative? Like she spliced it into the narrative, or is it really the narrative? Right? I don't think we know yet.
I can't even enjoy life without my kids.
Help me understand what you mean by that.
Like how these guys are out here having fun with their family and stuff. I can't even go in that water and pretend to even have fun because what's the point? She's not here to enjoy it with.
I lost a son.
Yeah, you were saying that.
I know that hole. I know there's a depth of pain that nobody understands until you have been in that hole. Okay? And
I've been in this hole twice now.
Help me understand that.
Well, once when
Did she say
my
I've
mom
been in
called
this
me and said,
hole? Did she say I've been in this hole twice?
Yep.
That's I don't know why that wording always seemed kind of interesting to me.
Well, she's going to explain.
Just repeating what Chris said.
Rose, her sister.
Yeah, I know. I just thought the whole, I've been in this hole.
Right.
I don't know.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point.
It's just an interesting.
Didn't Chris say the whole that comment first though?
Yeah, I know. I just thought the whole, I've been in this hole.
Help me understand that.
well, once when
Did she say
my
I've
mom
been in
called
this
me and said,
hole? Did she say I've been in?
and stuff, I can't even go in that water and pretend to even have fun because what's the point? She's not here to enjoy it with.
I lost a son.
Yeah, you were saying that.
I know that hole. I know there's a depth of.
See, he says, I know that hole. It was Chris that came up the word hole. That's why she repeated it. So I don't think that he heard Chris say that.
Pain that nobody understands.
Right.
I don't know.
No, that's a good point.
sister Rosie
Okay.
when she disappeared. And that was heartbreaking. But my daughter, that's twice as worse.
Right.
You might as well just rip my chest out, throw it out there for the fish to eat because it's worthless without her.
Now, either this is genuine, which I was close enough to her. I saw what appeared to be genuine tears coming down. And that could be from actual consciousness of guilt, that there's something much more problematic there. It could be from her reminiscing about her sister and some wrongdoing there.
Yeah.
And now, because she qualified it with, that was essentially bad, her sister. But this is worse.
Twice as worse.
Twice as worse, right? Twice as bad,
Twice as bad. Yeah.
right?
Hey, Mama.
I try to be strong for my boys.
Now, that's an interesting statement. I try to be strong for my boys. Abused women, if they're not abusing their own children, maybe they're protecting them from abuse. And it's interesting when you contrast that to what we find out later about, some of the dynamics within that home, thanks to Dawn, in terms of, the cops being called, the fights, and, she's had a restraining order against him in the past. And, the day Summer had gone missing, or at least shortly thereafter, he's on the news saying, yeah, we resolved those issues,
She apologized.
She apologized. Exactly.
Yeah.
She apologized.
And now we all know what the reality of that was. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
He's extremely abusive to women. And so is that statement in line with, am I protecting my children, or have I done something with my children? I don't know. Personally, I don't have that answer. But I know there's an emotional response taking place here, that something is heavy on top of her right here. It's extremely heavy. What were you thinking, Josh?
No, I was just kind of agreeing with you that
The town restaurants.
she does. She
No, I
feels
heard-
like the weight of the world is on her shoulders, and it basically is. I mean, I believe at this point the boys had been taken by the Child Protective Services, and she's sort of reminiscing about her life, maybe where it went wrong, and some of the choices. But essentially, besides Dawn and her mother,
well, hold on.
she has, Rose is gone. She has.
Fred was helping get the potatoes on for dinner. Hey, Fred, did Dawn mention Trump the night that Summer went missing, or politics?
No.
He didn't. Because what about, like, he didn't talk about him on 16th, 7th, or like he talked to the politics a lot to me on a call.
Politics around me
About Trump, because the tree trimmers told me that he was talking about Trump. He was talking about Trump the night or the day of Summer's disappearance. Like,
No, he didn't say nothing about no politics around me.
That's it. That's she goes from having a full house with 4 children in it, losing all of them. I would have to think on some level, any mother is going to reflect on that negatively. And I think that, you know, the way that she's staring and looking out, it feels like that's what she's doing here.
Yeah, she's definitely processing something going on here. And you can see her. She's not making eye contact with me. Now, I do have sunglasses on, and I had them on because I wanted to see her reactions. I didn't want her, seeing where I was looking. I wanted to watch her body language. I wanted to listen to her tone. I wanted to, see and do.
I try to have hope.
That's an interesting word that she chose. I've tried to have hope. And remember, Don, his contrast to that was there was no hope.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Chris, is that they've all but given up.
Right.
And if you believe that your child was abducted and something was done without your knowledge.
Yeah, Dawn definitely gave up from the get-go, for sure.
I mean, Don's never had no emotions. Even the evening that he come when someone went missing, he had no emotions at all. Like it wasn't even nothing to him. You wouldn't even thought Summer even was related to him or nothing.
Who's Craddock? What do you guys think about Craddock saying there may be ties to Hawkins County? What's that mean? Does that have to do with Boswell? I tried to look up what you're talking about. Carter? What Carter on what? What were they talking about? Oh shit, dude. Are you serious? Somebody over Sebastian's case said it could be tied to Hawkins. Oh my God. Dude, that is crazy because I feel that really strongly. That is I feel it's tied to Summer's case. That is strange.
Somebody say something about a Carter or something?
Yeah, Carter. It's the new it's Craddock, the new sheriff in Sumner County over Sebastian's case.
I know there's a Carter that owns some property on Simpson Lane.
Wow.
Wearing two double wide or trailers sitting side by side. A Carter owns it.
Where? On Simpson Lane?
Well,
they're saying in Sumner County that he mentioned that's very interesting. So they are letting people go into the trial for the Boswell case? They're letting them go inside? Because I hear, yeah, because Dolly's there. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. And that he's going also to Hendersonville, I guess. So Dolly was at Ben Hill Road today, supposedly. Yeah, when did he say about ties to the... Okay, Mohawk Mom, lead detective. Well, Craddock is the new sheriff, I guess. Technically, Brendan Carter... Oh, okay. Brendan Carter is the detective on... So... The two fans have spoken. What's that mean? Fans have spoken. The two fans. The two families have spoken? Yeah, I heard that. That was weird. I did hear about you know, like Dawn talking to Chris or something. Yeah, they have a lot in common, in my opinion. They both like the alcohol too. I have been saying that Sebastian and Summer cases are related. Yeah. A comment was made recently. Wow. Well, let's hope that together, you know, that's be a crazy, because when Sebastian went missing, it was the very first day me and Fred were like had
Ever hung out, really?
yeah, had ever hung out, like as far as a couple or whatever. You know,
Everybody
so
was getting Amber Alerts like crazy.
yeah. So, and that's what it was. So, you know, that was the very first day too. I think that we were the very first day that we were even had spent time together as a couple.
We'd left the halfway house for a little bit, and then they called and needed me back there for a minute.
Yeah.
And it happened on the way back.
Yep. So I see a lot of similarities. And unfortunately, yeah, because there's also accusations of SA in the Sebastian case, like the history of that. There's been rumors about it and stuff, and been talked about. Yeah, and I think it could be very much. I don't know. I haven't been watching the Sebastian case like the Summerwell's case. So, but that's just like when I've done readings on it and stuff, they just something seems connected in a way. I do know the team behind Seth said they have come across info on Summer and will follow any leads there also. Really? Dang. I would love to talk to them. Still here resting for work tomorrow. Okay. Hey, I see you. I see various. I mean, they're both. I mean, look, Chris and Katie definitely like their alcohol, just like Candace and Dawn. There's, yeah. I mean, they had somebody. I feel like, handed their child off to somebody, just like Candace and Dawn, in my opinion. There was alleged abuse of different kinds in both cases. Let's see. Definitely multiple people in both cases, covering up corruption in both cases, probably. Because there's rumors that Chris is connected to some people, just like there's rumors with corruption in Summer's case. There's a lot. I mean, to me, they are very, very similar. But I could see also why people would say they're not similar. I could see that. I see why you would think that. And I would immediately I would have said the same thing immediately. They don't, it's the fact that the ages aren't the same. I mean, it's a boy and a girl, it doesn't seem like, usually you wouldn't think that there would be like a market for, I mean, I know girls usually are what people think of when they think of trafficking, right? Usually.
It seems like these days, though, it's more boys in the trafficking than girls, seem like.
And the fact that he was autistic, I don't know. Like, what? I don't know what your guys' guess, I guess, would be as good as mine, really. Yeah, profits have money. I looked immediately. I could just tell when I saw Katie for the first time and Chris. I could tell that they're alcohol. I mean, I'm sorry. This is just my opinion only. I could tell they have alcohol problems. You can tell by looking at them. They have that alcohol. Their faces get red, and I just could tell in her demeanor. It seemed like it that they drink a lot. But that's just an opinion. That's not definite fact. That's not fact. But I do have to go, guys, because my dinner is about done. So I'm going to be back doing cards on Empress Ziggy here in a little bit. All right, guys. Maybe we'll watch the rest of this tomorrow or something. We're at 52:45. Thanks to Chris and Josh for doing this live, and still would love to talk to you, Chris. Me and Fred would still love to talk to you. I think he would be very interested in the stuff that we have to talk about, but I don't know. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.